Good afternoon, everyone. We have with us today Teresa Gracias, and she is a product and content leader at Cloud Alley. Thank you so much, Teresa, for joining us. And we would
Thank
be
you.
looking forward to talk to you and understand how we could learn from your journey and make it count for each one of us. So, a hearty welcome to you, Teresa.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to share my inputs.
Great. So, Teresa, first things first, maybe a quick snapshot of your journey in terms of how you arrived where you are and how did it transpire for our viewers and listeners.
Right. So I started off my journey in the tech domain after my engineering degree. I worked at Infosys as a programmer. I then joined ThoughtWorks in Chicago, first as a developer, and then I moved on to being a business analyst. Now, when I returned from between breaks after my maternity leave, an opportunity opened up in the marketing team that required someone with both technical knowledge and the ability to translate it into customer speak. Now, while I have always enjoyed the analytical aspects of programming, I've always been a creative nerd with a love for writing. And this was right up my alley. And after a couple of interviews and demonstrations of collateral, I moved into the role in the digital marketing team. I started at ThoughtWorks with content strategy and content development, focused on marketing the products being developed. And then after 7 years, with ThoughtWorks, I then decided to start my own practice for better work-life balance. And then after 6 years, I have again moved into a full-time role with Cloud Ally.
Okay. So you use some of the phrases here, which I think not a lot of us would understand in great
Okay.
nuance. So, what's content marketing? What's product marketing? Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, and then we can kind of dive deep into these areas.
Right. So when I started off too, there was no defined role as a content strategist or a content marketer. It kind of my journey and the evolution of a content marketer or content strategist seem to have gone in parallel. But now it is a known fact, and this has largely been driven by the fact that every company needs to have an intuitive, empathetic, and UX-driven digital presence to survive and to thrive. This is the new normal. And your content is the oil in your digital marketing engine. For example, in the digital marketing engine of any company you see, if you before you make any purchase, if you take a moment and step back, you will see that there were different touch points that you digitally made with the company, which finally drove your purchase or your decision. You maybe you read a blog about them, or you heard you attended a webinar, or maybe you saw you downloaded an ebook. You were looking for a study guide and you downloaded an ebook, and that gave you that journey, that those touch points with the company nurtured you and made you trust the company, made you believe in them, made you understand that yes, this is a right fit, this product or this service or is a right fit for me. So what has led you there has actually been content, and so that is essentially the role of a content strategist and a content marketer.
Okay. So this does make some sense. And I've heard a lot about inbound marketing versus outbound marketing in a similar context. Does that kind of maps onto content marketing in some way as well?
Yes. So for inbound, it's the way, content marketing is the complete engine behind inbound marketing. So, outbound marketing you're just putting content out there because of what maybe you think the customer will like, or they will like this ad or this billboard or this what have you. But inbound marketing helps to form connections with the customer, and tries to address their pain points and solves the problems that they have, with your solution. So for example, what you have to do is you have to look at it as a marketing funnel, and you have to map your customer journey to the marketing funnel. So at the top of the funnel is content that would just interest them. So you prepare you prepare content that would be you would look at SEO inputs for content that would attract your target audience. You need to understand who your target personas are, and you would then create interesting content. Then, as they download your content or read your blogs, you then email them or you send push notifications for content that has more to do with your product. And then finally you move on to like a salesperson, they become marketing sales qualified leads, and you send them content directly related to your product.
Okay. Okay. So I need to understand this as a 15, 20-year-old
Okay.
Teresa, perhaps because that's where most of our audiences are. Maybe you could take an example of a product which many of us would use, maybe a book, for example, or an Amazon or a product that sells on Amazon, and explain to us what is the role of content marketing in the entire purchase process, and then probably map this onto the skills that one would need to make it work.
Right. So, let's say it's a health drink. Okay.
Okay.
So, say raw pressery. I'm just giving an example. I have not looked them up, and this does not. I'm just hypothesizing here. But a health drink X. Now, they have analyzed their target audience, and they are 15 to 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds who want to stay fit and healthy, and they want something, a no fast, no preservative drink in the morning to kickstart their day. Now, what they would do, um, just think back about any drink or health drink that you have consumed. So, what they would do is they would not be putting big billboards, they would not be putting big billboards all over the place, but what they would be doing is they would be creating ads on targeting on Facebook or for 15 to 25-year-olds, largely on Facebook and Twitter, which target that category of youngsters. And then there would be an ad for a fitness challenge, and which has content which will drive you to their blog, and their blog will have nothing to do with the product. Their blog will have things to do about what you are concerned about as a 15 to 25-year-old, concerned about your nutrition, about maybe weight gaining, how do you stay fit, and there would be blogs with nutrition charts. There would be assets available to you that you'd find helpful. uh, and then, as you will now say, you perhaps you will go to the healthydrink.com website, because it gives you it gives you a free calorie calculator. It gives you exercises for the day. On yoga day, you will get an email from them. You'll subscribe to their email notifications, because you'll get like 10 asanas to for better concentration and to lose weight, and etc. And then you now are engaged with the brand. You're engaged with them on social media. You get their posts, you retweet them. You believe that this brand is really sincere, it's honest about its approach. And then when they will tell you, we're offering a subscription program, you can we'll give you like. So you see, the typical marketing activities like offering a discount or come right at the end, after the connection has been made with your content. You have engaged with them, you have built trust with them, and hence they are now willing to make that final purchase, because you have made that connect with your content. And you have been tracking, there's been a lot of work. I mean, behind the scenes, people have been tracking your movement via Marketo, via HubSpot. They've been seeing what are you clicking. There are heat maps in place. So it's pretty targeted. And hence you have made your purchase because you have been influenced by those content touch points along the way. And you
So
can take any brand in. Every brand is heavily investing in content marketing.
yeah, so I can see that content is used to build that connect,
Yes.
is the bedrock for making further sales and generating that.
Yes, for generating leads.
So, but from a skill perspective, if I were to kind of pivot to a different point
Yeah.
altogether, and like we were conversing before this talk started, I think you would need to get into the shoe of that 15-year-old or 20-year-old
Yes.
to understand that. And empathy would probably be a very important skill set
Yes.
How do you do that, and how do you develop something like this, and what are the other skills that one would need to
Okay.
be a very strong content person?
Okay. So to start with, if you decide, say, you need to decide what area you'd like to write content on. So, or what is your client's market? So if you are just starting off on a blank slate, what I would suggest is you would maybe want to target one industry or the other. So do your research, understand what the industry is all about, understand what the business and the product is all about. And you have to develop empathy. You have to consider that you have five stakeholders. You have your business, you have the product, you have your marketing, you have the customer, and you have the competitor. So you need to be able to listen to all of them. And one skill that I've had to pick up along the way is this is a new world where things are not siloed. You have to be able to collaborate with people across your organization. You have to be able to not be defensive about feedback. That is very essential, because your aim is not to just sell, to put, I have written this, it makes like great editor, you have great editorial style and you've written a beautiful, this is not literature. So you're not writing something that looks great in your eyes, but you have to consider that you're writing it for the reader. You are putting your unique distinctive style in place, definitely, that is there, but you have to be able to make that connection. So you have to be um, you can't afford to be defensive about feedback. When people, if you get feedback, you have to in fact consider it like something great. I mean, that you are being told, if you're say you prepare a piece of content and your target audience, you have a focus group, and they say this works or this doesn't work, that is very valuable, to know. So I would say the skills that you'd acquire would be research and analysis, empathetic writing skills, a good editorial style, and communication skills.
How do you develop them?
How do you develop them? so
And think of
empathy.
it.
Yeah.
Let me elaborate a
Right.
little further.
Okay.
Think from a point of view of a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old who are thinking about building a career in content space and
Okay.
quickly leading into a product space.
Okay.
How is it that they can go about building skills like the ones which you've talked about?
Okay, so one, if we break it up into those four parts, one would be research and analysis. You'd have to understand. So, if you are going to write about the IT, um, uh, 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 the AI, your target audience would be someone doing machine learning or AI. You'd have to understand the market, read a lot of blogs about it, do your analysis. Then industry agnostic, you need to have empathy. So how do you cultivate empathy? You cultivate empathy by you can practice it around your house. You can, all our families need a dose of empathy, but basically, I mean, on a lighter note, but what I mean to say is you have to be, you can write out some pitches and hand it over. If you have any people who fall within your target personas, and see that it makes the connect. You have to be able to speak from their shoes. To be able to do that, you have to understand what are their pain points. So that is a good way to build empathy, because when you understand why are they buying that health juice, they are buying it because they are struggling with weight issues, they're struggling with nutrition, they're struggling with time, they don't have time. So when you understand, when you take your time to understand what is it that is driving, what is their pain point, their challenge, then you are able to, you do naturally develop a concern for resolving their problem. And that is what will get them to read your content, that you are speaking to them. So try to understand what is it that is will drive them to reach, to click on your content, to make that click. The next is, this is also agnostic, not industry dependent, but you need to have strong editorial style. There are tools available to help you, but you need a lot of marketing has become, like there are plenty of tools out there that will help you hone it. There's Grammarly, there's Yoast that will help you write SEO driven content. There are many, but you have to develop your own unique style, which is respectful. And so a bit of practice would help to develop your own editorial style. And then there's communication skills, another soft skill, but you have to deal with multiple stakeholders in your organization. And as you prepare content, if you work as a contractor, you have to you cannot, as a content strategist, so you may start off as a content writer, but as you move to being a content strategist, you do not have the bandwidth to write or produce all your content. So you have to be able to understand how can I produce it, perhaps roping in, like, build thought leaders within the organization. So you have to be able to interact with the C level or the notables in your organization to see ways you can get them to maybe give you a video snippet, maybe interact with your brand more socially. So you have to have strong communication skills across the board.
There are a lot of things which I see a youngster could potentially work upon. Um, but taking a different perspective altogether in terms of how these skills find manifestation, I see a lot of people, and yourself included, who do come from a technology background and they have integrated content journeys along the way to
Right.
make space either in content or further leading into product. How does that happen? And if you can unbundle this for us in terms of implications, in terms of skills and career tracks, that would also be helpful for our viewers.
So, as I said, my journey was a serendipitous one in many ways, but I understand that's not the case. So, if you are in the tech domain, this is a great career for women, especially because it affords more work-life balance. Um, uh, uh, what I would suggest is. Speak to your marketing team, understand what they are, you know, understand a bit about their products, what are their challenges, what are the target customers that they have. Build a couple of presentations, sales pitches, work with your, see if there is a way you can help out on a sales call to understand what the customer is looking for. And then if you build your SEO skills, there are a lot of Google offers a lot of courses that you can take. So build some collateral on your end to prove that you have the tech skills, the writing skills, and the empathetic knowledge skills, that you understand what the customer is looking for. You have uh, so build those, and then you can go and explore opportunities within your own organization's marketing team, or you can start out there with, there are a lot of freelance sites where you can start off perhaps doing smaller content projects, and then as you build trust, you can move on to larger ones where you strategize the whole, where these are not ad hoc, because ultimately what an organization, so just producing random bits of content is not going to help an organization to drive leads, because it's very sporadic, and you're leaving too much to chance in an age where there are tools and ways to track and make sure that you don't leave it to chance. So you could then explore a role there. Organizations are looking for someone who will be able to strategize the whole part to understand the entire journey, and then produce content that maps to those different aspects.
Right. Uh, and I think one of the things that intrigues me, and I've been meaning to talk to you or someone who's in a similar position who has gone through the whole hog. I hear a lot of talk about many of these content jobs going to machines, in the sense that with artificial intelligence being developed to the extent that it is being developed, what do you envisage would be the role of a human content person uh, 10, 15, 20 years from now?
So uh, once again I have to use the E word, which is empathy. So
Right.
the main difference that you would bring to the situation, so it's interesting because a couple of years ago there was, people are tired of marketing spiel. They are tired of, like, being, nobody likes being manipulated, or at least feeling they're being manipulated. So that is where, if for example, a few years ago, there was a big shift to long form content like that on Medium. People liked reading articles with like a strong editorial style, which brought value, which wasn't, which was very counterintuitive based on, the Twitter character limit, and the fact that everyone has shorter attention span. So the customer will always appreciate empathetic content that appeals to their sensibilities. And while you may be able to, maybe feed in some keywords and get there may be some tool where you feed in some keywords, or you show some sample websites and they'll produce that content for you. You would need someone to strategize along the way, to understand and to make the changes quickly as to what really appeals to your target persona. You need to take that effort to, so that is where I feel a human would be able to bring in their contribution, which a machine would may struggle to bring in that empathy into the situation.
Yeah, I think, and as an entrepreneur myself, who's running a very strongly built content platform, Akadru,
Right,
we do see that one of the ways to build empathy is by looking at different point of views, different thought processes, and different content areas over a period of time. It's not a skill that you develop instantaneously, certainly not by very active training in a very short span of time. It's something which is a long-term skill, which is developed over a long period of time. And I think a lot of our viewers and readers have come back to us and saying that, look, when we browse through content areas which are related,
right, right,
uh, so when you're talking about toys, and then you're talking about science, which is the backbone behind toys, and how they contextualize in terms of the environment, people become aware of related disciplines. And that's happened through a Akadru in many ways, also help people develop empathy
right,
in a very,
right.
very deeper and a very long term way. And I think that's certainly very, very beneficial as one goes forward in building this elusive, I would say, skill set.
Right, that's true. And I mean, you hit upon a right point. So, you need to understand, spend the time to understand your customer, either like via focus groups, or digitally, to, and via SEO and via other tools out there, to because sometimes the connection, as we are not linearly connected. So, they may be interested, like you said, toys will give rise to science. So you don't know how it may move in. So it requires a little empathetic and innovative thinking out of the box, putting yourself truly into that customer's shoes. So that is where I think the human being would bring in some difference, as opposed um, to a program that generates content. Though that would be great. I mean, you could always use this to supplement your workload, but
Right.
yeah, but not to replace it. Yeah,
Yeah, and I suppose technology in that case would always and should be a facilitator.
agreed.
Right, right. So, I mean, we've talked about how this could be done by a youngster. And one
Right,
of the things that I often ask, and ponder upon again, if there is a middle-aged person who is looking to make a new beginning, and want to
right,
pivot to a content career,
right.
are there ways and mechanisms to do it, more doable ways of doing it for that person, perhaps, which you could perhaps suggest to some of our elder viewers and
S- Uh, so I would suggest, go to Upwork or freelancer, Elancer, based on where you are. pick a good freelancing website and look for opportunities that interest you, because freelancing is a great way to you don't need, you may not need to have much collateral or much already pre-existing collateral to land a job. So you can land a gig in something that is start small, like I said, and then as you build trust with your customer, you can move to larger content projects, move to content strategy and product marketing.
Mm.
So I would suggest start off either internally in your organization. You could reach out to your marketing team and after you have done your due diligence, or look out for build some core skills, and then look out for opportunities available, freelance gigs available.
Okay, this makes sense. And just
Start a blog if you're very keen on it, with aspects that you've, yeah.
absolutely. Does it only have to do with writing per se, or it has other pieces of
No,
content?
so especially for the youngsters out there, video creation is really big, videos and podcasts. So if your skills aren't to, you're not a very you're not confident about your writing skills, you could move on to the video domain and make, learn the ropes on how to, video editing or creating videos and podcasts. Podcasts are immensely, but what you should start by doing is understanding what is it that you could try it out in a blog. What is it that your customer would want, your target client, and then create a short video maybe on how you can improve their product marketing strategy, and this is a value you can bring, and share that with them. You could explore other formats. Definitely, the other aspect is social media marketing, which is really big, where there are plenty of tools out there, Brands 24, Hootsuite, Sprout, which you can start by mastering a few tools, so that when you approach an organization, you can say, I know this XYZ. There are free trials for all these tools. You can start out with them, and you can follow some influencers out there, bloggers out there. Social media is a beloved of the 15 to 25-year-old. So you're already experts, I'm sure, in that domain. But you need to take a step back from the way you are posting on social media currently, which is just to talk about yourself and what you do, and more about what you think your target would like to hear, like to do. So that is also a great way to build empathy as you interact with your audience, with your friends socially. You would be producing content or sharing content that you feel will be less about yourself and more about what you think they would like to see.
Yeah, if I were to surmise this, and I see the common thread in all of this, which is to build empathy, and that is the bedrock of
Yes,
being able to create great content, whatever be the format of that content.
right.
And then perhaps seek feedback and iteratively improve this.
Yes,
And
yes,
if
you would.
you do this well, I think you've hit the nail on its head.
Okay, thank you.
Am I correct?
Yes, yes, I agree. You would have to. These would be, no matter which technology or which it would be agnostic, as far as all of that is concerned. You would have to build empathy. You would have to take feedback and improve. So while I was at ThoughtWorks, that was a skill I acquired. Because ThoughtWorks is the leader of agile development and programming, and I've applied those Scrum Agile precepts to various other aspects of my life, which is, build small, start small, and
Mhm.
iteratively develop. Be open about feedback. If you get feedback, it's not some, it's actually, it's a paradigm shift. If you just stop looking at feedback as something that you have to be defensive about, it's very helpful. It's the most valuable thing you could be getting. So take in your feedback, apply that to, and then improve your whatever your end product, your video or your blog. Improve it as you go along, and then you can keep building on it. Don't wait for the perfect end. Just start small, build a prototype, If you're keen about producing videos, start small, start with your channel, build something, do your due diligence. Doesn't mean you start recklessly, and then build on it and improve on it as you go along.
Okay. It also seems to me when you were talking about this, that there are not too many formal ways of building this skill set. It's more like you take the initiative and you start building out skill sets in the content space. Am I correct, or there are formal mechanisms to do that? And if
So
so,
there are Google marketing platform certifications that you can do. Google Analytics is extremely Google Analytics is like the mainstay of it. Has spawned a lot of other tools that help you to understand exactly what are the customer touch points, how are they moving through your journey, what did they what kind of people are the age groups, the demographics, it's the keywords that are useful. So you can start with that. You can you can get certified, pick up some certifications over there. You can pick up choose a few tools like HubSpot or Marketo and try to learn them, one or the other. There are you could then there are social media tools like Brands 24, Hootsuite, Sprout Social. So you could pick up on them, download a few free trials and see how they work. You could start with analyzing your own followers in your own group and see how you can track their tweets, how you can look for keywords, how you can get more followers. So you could start with that, and then when you learn the ropes through these ways, you will feel more confident about pitching it to a client.
yes. So I know we are already at time, but just few final words in terms of key advice and key takeaways from this conversation that'd be helpful, Teresa, as well.
So my yeah, so I'd like to tell the youngsters out there that there are many different new, you're living in exciting times where there are many new opportunities and it's not very siloed. It is much appreciated if you have a multidisciplinary approach. So you don't need to be 100% technical, you don't need to be 100% creative. And in fact, content marketing and digital marketing and content strategy is right up that alley, where if you are a bit of both, start small, pick up something, pick up an aspect of digital marketing that you like. It could be social media marketing, it could be SEO, keyword research. There are more technical ones. It could be content strategy. So pick up an aspect you like, do your market research, understand the tools that are there, download a few of those tools and try them out, experiment with your own followers, with your own blog, and then build on it as you go along. And you'll do great, as long as you it, as I've reiterated multiple times, you need to have empathy. You need to, and that's a wonderful skill to develop. It helps in all aspects of your life. So you need to be able, to truly understand what are your customers' pain points, what is it that they would like to hear, and how you can help them. What value do you bring to the table? And if you develop that, you'll do really well. All the best.
Thank you so much, Teresa. It was wonderful having you. I'm
Likewise. Thank you.
sure everyone would have benefited from it. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.